guys, and welcome back to Coaching to Destiny. I'm Destiny, and today's topic is going to be about the 10 things that I've learned in my first year as a head collegiate basketball coach. Now, the things that I'm going to mention in this video are not exclusive to just collegiate coaches, but coaches at all levels can get something from the 10 things that I'm going to mention. So let's jump right into it, guys. Number 1, set realistic expectations. This was a big one for me because growing up, I've always been really good at things that I've tried, and I've always been open to trying, new things because I was good at them. But I had to keep this scripture in mind from Zechariah 4:10, where it says, "Do not despise small beginnings, because the Lord rejoices to see the work begin." And I had to realize that I don't know everything. And I had to realize that it's okay to come in and learn. And so I had to have realistic expectations with my personnel, with the players I had on my team. I had to come in, I needed to come in with realistic expectations about how I thought the season was going to go and how it was going to end. And one thing that I can say is that when you go into the season and you don't set realistic expectations, then you're setting yourself up for a very, very long season. Number 2, failure is necessary. Oh my goodness. My first year as a head coach was rough. I thought that I would win so many games, and that just wasn't the case. And I had to, understand that losing and failing makes you grow. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it gives me that extra push that I need to really just go after what it is that I'm wanting. And it really shows me that I really want the things that I'm pursuing, because perseverance is something that you get from failing. And it helps you grow your character. A lot of people quit after that first year where it's rough, or they quit after that person says something bad about them, or they quit after they don't get the desired outcome. But that's not what having a passion for something does for you. Failing just pushes you to really go after it even harder. Number 3, give yourself time to grow and learn. And this is a picture that I saw on Facebook the other day, and I thought that it, accurately depicted how I needed to see these seasons as they're going by. I need to give myself time to grow and learn, and that takes a lot of pressure off of yourself as the season goes on. And that goes back to the last point that I made, that you set realistic expectations and you understand that you don't know everything. So with that, you allow yourself time to grow and develop into who you have the potential to really be. Number 4, planning doesn't equal perfect. I planned out my entire first year as a head coach, and some things did go as planned, but more than half of it didn't. And I had to understand that even though I planned things out, that there still has to be room for things to just naturally and organically happen as they're going to. And it wasn't something that I could control all the time. It was something that I did my part in, and I planned, and then I tried to stick to the plan as much as I could, but the plan had to be adjusted. So planning didn't equal a perfect season for me, and it won't equal a perfect season for you either. Number 5, don't base your value as a coach solely off of wins and losses. When you base your value as a coach solely off of whether you win or lose, you set yourself up to experience greater discouragement and greater disappointment than if you had kept in mind your why behind why you're coaching. I know most of us who get into coaching, our first thought isn't, I want to coach, my sport because I'm going to win every single game. No, we say that we want to coach because we want to make a difference, and we want to impact lives, and we want to mentor, young athletes, and we want to give back to our community. And those are the things that you have to keep in mind as your season goes on, and as you win some and as you lose some. And in some seasons you lose more than you win. But keeping in mind why you do what you do is what gets you through those difficult times. And I remember in my first year as an assistant coach, my parents got me this whistle And on the back of it, it was talking about how a coach's success is measured not by the number of wins, but by the number of winners produced. And that is one of the things that I try to keep in mind every day as I get to do something that I love so much. And I also had to learn great things take time. Great things take time. So even if you're losing, that doesn't mean that you're going to be the worst coach ever. It just means that great things takes time. And that reminds me of, when Steph Curry was first coming out, and I remember seeing the videos about him and how, all of the recruiters and scouts, they ranked him so low, yet he was able to reach such a high level of playing. And it was because where he started was ultimately not where he was going to end. So keeping in mind that, you're going to get better as you continue to gain experience and knowledge and wisdom, you'll get better. Number 6, being self-aware, knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are. This one is a big one. Everyone has a strength and a weakness. No one is exempt from having a weakness, and there is something good that everyone can do. So with that being said, the only way to handle strengths and weaknesses is to use your strengths to the best of your ability and to work on and improve on your weaknesses. And as a coach, there are many things that you can do to improve your weaknesses. And they range from anything from going to coaching clinics, from watching videos, from reading books, to talking to other coaches. There are so many resources out now. Number 7 is surrounding yourself with the right people. And a lot of times we like to attribute this just to our coaching staffs, but it's really even bigger than that. It's our families, it's our spiritual well-being. So if we go to a church, if we're feeding our souls anything. And so one of the things I learned this year was that I had to be able to have assistant coaches that I could trust and that I knew were dependable and reliable, and that I could, ask to do things and they would get things done. And I had exactly that. But I had to learn that I needed those kind of people around me and who were better in the areas of my weaknesses, and we meshed together so well. I also had to find a church home, and I did that, in my first year of moving, a few months in, I was able to find a church that I really connected with, and it's been absolutely amazing. And, I'm excited to, get to know those people a little bit more. And my family, they are literally my backbone outside of God. My family, they're there whenever I need to talk, whenever I need to vent, whenever I need advice, whenever I just need support and love and understanding. They are always there. And family, like I said in my first video, is crucial. It's important. You can't succeed without them. Number 8, deal with difficult people and situations head on. This was really an area that I struggled in because I don't like confrontation. But I had to learn that as a leader, it's something that you can't run away from, and it's something that you can't avoid. Confrontation and situations, they're always going to be there, and how you choose to handle them is what makes it harder or easier. So one of the things that I had to learn this year as far as dealing with confrontation is that I needed to focus more on solutions versus the why, the who, the what, and the where. So an example of that would be, my first thought with situations is, who said that? Why did they say that? Why did they think that was okay? What made them think, what made them do that? Why, did they have to say anything? And I spent so much time focusing on the problem part of the situation that I didn't spend as much time on the solutions as I needed to. So making sure that you spend more time on the solutions than the problem is going to make dealing with confrontation a lot easier. And number 9, manage your time wisely. One of the great things about this is that before I got the head coaching position, I remember having a conversation with my dad about being able to manage time and being able to, incorporate family and church and, working out and all the things that you just need to be a healthy person. So managing time was something I already somewhat had a concept of, but it wasn't until I actually was put in the position where I had to manage time that it really became something that I understood and learned. And managing time goes with, planning practices, with planning volunteer activities, with planning, meetings about academics and things like that. Planning times for, making sure we get to our opponents on time and making sure we make it to eat in enough time. And it was a lot of time that had to be managed, but I had to learn that if you do some of those things ahead of time, then it's a lot easier as the year goes on. And last but not least, number 10, I learned that how you schedule games is extremely important. I attribute a great deal of the outcome of this season based off the way that I scheduled our games. I was unaware that how you scheduled the games based off of difficulty and personnel and team morale was extremely important. So for example, one of the things that I did early on in this season was that our the first 2 out of 3 games that we had were against well-known, fully established, nationally ranked teams. And of course, it was my first year coming in with players that I didn't recruit. And so having to play those teams early on in the season, it really hurt us. And I think it kind of just put things in perspective for us where we realized that we couldn't compete at that level. And I think that ultimately it hurt my team for the rest of the season. So if anything else, outside of everything I learned, the most practical one is to make sure that as you schedule games that you keep in mind your personnel, the level of difficulty of the teams that you're choosing to play. And I don't mean saying that you can't play really great teams because you know that you'll never win. But I think that you have to schedule them at the right time in the season so that you don't hurt their chances and their togetherness in being able to achieve that goal. So those are the 10 things that I've learned in my first year as a head coach. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.